I started eating at my grandparents' house instead of feeding my bratty brothers after school. My parents work until like 8 p.m. every night, leaving me to babysit my 3-year-old brother Jake and 2-year-old brother Connor after school. They expected me to make snacks for everyone, but my brothers turned it into a daily nightmare. Every single day, I'd ask them what they wanted to eat. Jake would just shrug and say, "I don't know," while scrolling through his phone. Connor would ignore me completely or say whatever without looking up from his video games, so I'd make them basic stuff like peanut butter sandwiches or heat up some leftover pizza. Then they'd completely lose their minds. Jake would take one bite and go, "This tastes disgusting. I'm not eating this garbage." Connor would throw his sandwich in the trash and demand I make him a full meal like tacos or pasta with sauce. When I'd tell them that's all we had, they'd raid the pantry for chips and cookies instead. By the time my parents got home, my brothers would be whining about how they were starving and how I never fed them. My parents would immediately blame me without asking what actually happened. My dad would yell, "Just ask them what they want first," even though I literally did that every day. The worst part was when my brothers would eat all the good snacks before dinner, then not eat the actual meal my parents made. My mom would get furious at me for letting them ruin their appetites, even though I'm not their parent. My grandparents live like 10 minutes away, and my parents asked if they could watch all three of us after school, but my grandma took one look at how my brothers acted and said absolutely not. She told my parents, "I'm not running a restaurant for kids who throw tantrums when they don't get exactly what they want." My grandpa was even more blunt. He said, "Jake demanded I make him chicken nuggets, then threw them away because they weren't the frozen kind. Connor ate half a bag of cookies, then complained there was nothing good to eat. I'm not dealing with that behavior." So my grandparents said I could come over by myself anytime. They actually enjoyed having me around because I helped with small chores and we'd talk about school and sports. My grandma would make me real meals like grilled cheese and tomato soup or leftover roast beef from Sunday dinner. Then my best friend Marcus found out what was happening and said his mom offered to feed me too. His family was super welcoming, and his mom would make me a plate whenever they had snacks or early dinner. Sometimes I'd help Marcus with homework while his little sister played nearby. My parents completely flipped out when they realized I wasn't coming home after school anymore. My mom called me screaming, "You're abandoning your responsibilities. Your brothers are your family." My dad said I was being selfish and making their lives harder. But here's the thing. When I stopped going home, my brothers had to figure out their own snacks. Suddenly, they were perfectly capable of making their own sandwiches and heating up leftovers. They stopped complaining to my parents because there was no one to blame anymore. My grandparents tried talking to my parents, explaining that my brothers needed to learn responsibility instead of expecting their teenage brother to be their personal chef. But my parents just got more angry and accused me of turning the family against them. Last week, my mom showed up at my grandparents' house during dinner and demanded I come home immediately. My grandpa told her, "He's welcome here anytime, and maybe you should ask yourself why your son prefers eating with us instead of dealing with that chaos at home." I'm still eating at my grandparents' and Marcus's house most days. My brothers have learned to fend for themselves, and honestly, our house is way more peaceful now.